A 35-hour curfew will be imposed on Kyiv as the Ukrainian capital continues to come under Russia's relentless armament, Mayor Vitaly Klitschko has announced. Key points: several apartment blocks in Kyiv have been hit by Russian shelling. Several apartment blocks in Kyiv have been hit by Russian shelling. 3 European leaders are set to arrive in the capital on an EU mission to show support for the country. 3 European leaders are set to arrive in the capital on an EU mission to show support for the country. Negotiations are continuing between Ukraine and Russia, with both sides expressing optimism. The curfew will be in place from Tuesday evening local time until Thursday morning. It is prohibited to move around the city without special permission, except to go to shelters, Mr. Klitschko said. Several apartment blocks have been struck by Russian forces based outside the city. At least 2 people were in the latest strikes, Mr. Klitschko said. Shelling ignited a huge fire at a 15-story apartment building, and a frantic rescue effort was underway to rescue the several people trapped inside. Shockwaves from an explosion also damaged the entry to a downtown metro station that has been used as a shelter. City authorities tweeted an image of the blown-out facade, saying trains would no longer stop at the station. The capital is the heart of Ukraine and it will be defended, Mr. Klitschko said. Kyiv, which is currently the symbol and forward operating base of Europe's freedom and security, will not be given up by us. A resident flees his home in Kyiv after it was hit by Russian shelling. EU leaders head to Kyiv. As Russia stepped up its assault on Kyiv, the leaders of Poland, the Czech Republic and Slovenia announced they would travel to Ukraine's capital on a European Union mission to show support for the country. Loading. The aim of the visit is to express the European Union's unequivocal support for Ukraine and its freedom and independence, Czech Prime Minister Petr Fiala said in a tweet. He will be joined by Slovenian Prime Minister Janez Janša, Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, and Jarosław Kaczynski, who is Poland's Deputy Prime Minister for Security and the leader of the Conservative ruling party. When Russia launched the war nearly 3 weeks ago, fear of an imminent invasion gripped the Ukrainian capital, and residents slept in subway stations or crammed onto trains to flee. But as the Russian offensive bogged down, Kyiv saw a relative lull. Fighting has intensified on the city's outskirts in recent days, and sporadic air raid sirens ring out around the capital. Ukrainian service members hold a Javelin missile system at a position on the front line in the North Kyiv region. Tuesday's early morning artillery strikes hit the Sviatoshinsky district of western Kyiv, adjacent to the suburb of Irpin, which has seen some of the worst battles of the war. Flames shot out of a 15-story apartment building as firefighters climbed ladders to rescue people. A 10-story apartment building in the Podilsky district of Kyiv, north of the government quarter, was also damaged by unspecified ammunition. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is seeking to extend martial law until April 24 and to require men ages 18 to 60 to stay in the country to fight. Mr. Zelensky submitted the extension in a bill to Parliament, which is expected to vote on it this week. Negotiations set to continue. Talks between Russian and Ukrainian negotiators were due to resume on Tuesday, after failing to make a breakthrough, or to break down, on Monday. The two sides had expressed some optimism about the negotiations, which Ukrainian presidential aide Mikhailo Podolyak said would discuss peace, ceasefire, immediate withdrawal of troops and security guarantees. Russia's military is bigger and better equipped than Ukraine's, but its troops have faced stiffer than expected resistance, bolstered by arms supplied by the West. US officials say Russian troops have made little progress on the ground in recent days and were still about 15 kilometers from the center of Kyiv as of Monday. The Pentagon said Russian forces have launched more than 900 missiles, but have not taken control of the air above Ukraine. Anastasia Ereshova hugs her child in a hospital in Mariupol. Her other child was during the shelling of the city. With each day, the human cost of the grinding war continues to rise. The Ukrainian General Prosecutor's Office on Tuesday released details of 2 Russian attacks the day before. The office said an artillery strike had hit a university and open-air market in the northern city of Chernihiv, in In an area outside Kyiv, Fox News reporter Benjamin Hall was injured while reporting and was hospitalized, the network said. Mariupol civilians given passage to leave. There was a rare glimmer of hope in the encircled port city of Mariupol after a convoy of 160 civilian cars left along a designated humanitarian route, the city council reported Monday. Over the past 10 days or so, the lethal siege has pulverized homes and other buildings and left people desperate for food, water, heat and medicine. Previous attempts to evacuate civilians and deliver humanitarian aid to the southern city of 430,000 were thwarted by fighting. Ukraine's military said it repelled an attempt on Monday to take control of Mariupol by Russian forces, who were forced to retreat. Ukraine claims its forces have 150 Russian troops and destroyed 2 Russian tanks in the battle for Mariupol. The Kremlin-backed leader of the Russian region of Chechnya said on a messaging app that Chechen fighters were spearheading the offensive on Mariupol. The UN has recorded at least 596 civilian deaths since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24, though it believes the true toll is much higher. Millions more have fled their homes, with more than 2.8 million crossing into Poland and other neighboring countries in what the UN has called Europe's biggest refugee crisis since World War II. M to mute, left and right arrows to seek, up and down arrows for volume. Watch 6 minutes 9 seconds 6 Ukrainian journalist details scary moment as Russia begins attack near the Polish border. Wires, ABC.